And welcome to the Board of Selectmen's meeting of May 18th, 2020. Could we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, I have my usual statement to read. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the Open Meeting Law, General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 18, and the Governor's March 15, 2020 order imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place. This meeting of the Board of Selectmen will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. Specific information in the general guidelines for remote participation can be found on the town's website at www.sturbridge.gov/town-pages/access-virtual-meeting. For this meeting, members of the public who wish to listen and or watch the meeting either online via the town's on-demand video broadcast or cable television on channel 191, or dial into the meeting at 774-304-1455, enter 1428# for the meeting number and 12345 for the access code. This phone number is only active for the public during public meetings. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. In the event that we are unable to do so, despite best efforts, we will post audio and or video recordings, transcript, or other comprehensive record of the proceedings on the town's website as soon as possible after the meeting. Okay, on the agenda this evening, we have public service announcements, we have department reports, town administrator, with aging, we have some action items, consideration on accepting donations, possible few appointments, request waivering of taxes, and accepting the petitions for change on the zoning map. Then we have old business under that COVID-19 update, review and consider a motion to allow for continuation of remote meetings, review the reopening process, new business, correspondence, approval of minutes, citizens forum, then adjournment. Okay, public service announcements. Priscilla?
None.
Mike?
Memorial Day is coming up next week from today. Original Memorial Day was during the Civil War, and they honored the dead on both sides. And we're in a war now with COVID-19. I just want to reflect on all those that we've lost to this horrible pandemic. Not only people from this country, but from all over the world, whether they be friend or foe. In the spirit of the original Memorial Day. Yeah.
Kate?
I just wish all my fellow board members and people of this community, I just hope everybody's staying safe and doing well rough times.
Mary?
Your microphone's off, Mary.
Mike and Jay said it so well, I really don't have anything to add but to echo their sentiments. And maybe make a suggestion that while we're going through this pandemic, we have a moment of silence at the beginning of our meetings for people who have passed away and for those fighting it, and also for our frontline workers and everybody. Just a suggestion in the future if we might want to consider that.
Okay, we can actually do it after the public service announcement. The only one I have is 3 weeks from today. June 8th is the town election from 6:30 a.m. to 8 p.m. at the polls. However, people can do mail-in voting and absentee voting. You can contact the town clerk, and she will mail out the ballots to you. Okay, so Mary, very good suggestion. We now have silence.
Silence.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next on the agenda we have town administrators report. Jeff?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I sent you the weekly report over the weekend, just some highlights of that report. Today we received guidance from the governor's office in the Commonwealth on reopening. I know that's an agenda topic later for the meeting, so we'll talk about it then. There is a public meeting on this Wednesday, the 20th at 5:30 p.m. about the future transportation priorities for the Commonwealth. And they're going to take testimony or comments. I had intended to provide comments from the town on the need to upgrade the Route 20 corridor. If there's other transportation elements you would like me to include in those comments, please let me know. But I think our biggest transportation priority is Route 20. But if there's other items you'd like me to include, I'd be happy to include those in the comments. We had with the last power outage, just another topic, with the last power outage, there was a number of E1 pumps that failed due to a loss of phase in a 3-phase power area. And that, Veal is once again asking that we have some kind of idea or plan on if we're going to continue to maintain E1 pumps or we're going to try to get out of the E1 pump business. So perhaps when this COVID is over, and we're back together, we can kind of talk about that a little bit and see if there's a process you all want to go through to evaluate the E1 pump process and if there's something we want to do differently. But that became a big issue during that last power outage. A lot of pumps had to be repaired. So I told them I'd bring it up to the board. The budget you have in front of you is pre-COVID. We know that that's not sustainable at this point. We've not gotten any good guidance other than it's going to change from the Commonwealth, but we also know local revenue streams are going to suffer as well. So you talked about it at your last meeting, the use of free cash and not wanting to raise taxes or adjust the tax rate up. We agree. So if there's comments or questions on that later in the evening, we can talk about that. But staff is working on a revised budget document that's going to recognize some reductions in revenue, some changes in revenue streams to support the budget, and some changes in expenditures. So that may need to be evaluated and voted on before town meeting and a revised warrant adopted. But we know it's going to be adjusted. One of the big unknowns, of course, is state aid. Not just the Chapter 70 money, but the unrestricted aid. And there's no guidance on that. But as I put out to you last week, there is COVID money, CARES money, that is now available to municipalities in Massachusetts. It's federal money that was one of the first or second stimulus packages. So $849,000 is available for the town of Sturbridge to spend on COVID-related issues, and it can only be spent on certain things. It can't be revenue replacement. It can't be for budgeted items. So it's very restrictive on how those funds can be used, and it's unlikely that the town of Sturbridge would spend $849,000 on just COVID-related items. So one of the thought processes is at the federal level and the state level is to go back to the feds and say, hey, can instead of spending this money on COVID-related issues, can municipalities across the country use it for revenue replacement? So we're waiting for an answer on that conversation. And that's almost equal to the amount of unrestricted aid that originally was anticipated on the cherry sheets. There is different COVID CARES money for schools. So schools weren't part of this conversation, but they have access to other dollars for COVID, for expense replacement. And we'll see how this all evolves. But that's a big revenue, that's a big driver in the budget discussions at the Commonwealth level and at the local level.
I just have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I know, thank you for that update. If we're not able to use that CARE money for revenue replacement, how much do you anticipate that we would spend from the $849,000?
So right now, today,
what kind of thing?
yeah, I don't anticipate spending more than $100,000, and let me qualify that. The Board of Health has their own pot of money for COVID expenses. FEMA has a pot of money for COVID expenses, so a lot of our PPE purchases and the disinfectant machine gets paid 75% from FEMA. We didn't have a community health center, we didn't have a field hospital, we didn't have a lot of these other big ticket items that other communities may have had. So $50 to $100 to $150,000 maybe, if, all in. The good news is this money can be spent over fiscal 20 and fiscal 21. So there's no need to expedite a request for reimbursement at this time. We are preparing our expenses to date and want to see where we are, but FEMA will pay, for those items that FEMA has money for and it's an eligible FEMA expense, they're going to pay 75%, and the CARES Act funds will pay the additional 25. So right now, today, we're not anticipating a huge spend out of this 849.
And I think I know the answer to this, but I'll ask it anyway. It can't be used for economic relief for like a tourist town like Sturbridge, for restaurants or anyone that's taken a hard hit in that way.
Unfortunately not. Now, we are looking at a different pot of money through community development block grants that may be used for micro businesses of 5 or less, but there's an economic threshold to that. So we're looking at that too, and see if we can apply for those funds and make micro loans or micro grants, but it's a very restrictive pot of money. So we'll have some more information for you on that opportunity over the next few days.
Excellent.
There's a bunch of other COVID-related stuff to talk about. One other thing on just in general, vacations, people have not been able to really take vacations because, there's nowhere to go. So we've basically put guidance out to the staff that, we'll carry over your vacation time to the next fiscal year. We'll come up with a plan on how you can expend it. But personal days, we do want people to take their personal days and use their personal days by the end of the fiscal year. So we'll carry over vacation, but we want you to take a day off here and there to spend your personal days. So I'll be happy to answer any further questions.
Any other questions from the board?
So this pot of money, that can go through all safety for the town hall, plexiglass, any measure like that we can get from this money, correct?
Right. Yep.
And does it go to Burgess? And how does Union 61 work with it?
Well, the schools have their own pot of COVID money, so this 849 is not applicable to schools. They have their own, the same money that the feds passed for locals and state, the schools have access to different dollars. Yeah.
Anything else from the board?
I have something. I'm sure this is a small amount of money, but what about the cost of going remote, like the charge for GoToMeeting and that type of thing, reimbursable?
It is. Technology is reimbursable. But we had to buy a few new laptops for people to work remotely. So some of those expenses are eligible, but we didn't have to buy a ton of stuff.
Jeff, did we just get today some guidance from MMA, Massachusetts Municipal Association, relating to the CARES Act? I thought I saw something that came through today. I got it through the Works Policy Committee, but I think it went out to all MMA communities.
Yeah, it actually went out last week. There was a webinar. So I hopefully you got the email for me that had that guidance in the CARES Act funding. So yeah, we're tracking the MMA every day on everything they put out. So if you see something that we haven't sent out and you have questions, let me know and I'll make sure you get it. But I've been trying to push everything to you that I'm getting.
Okay, anything else, Jeff?
No, ma'am. I'm all set. Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda, we have Council Aging Director, Leslie.
Hello, everyone.
Hope everyone is well.
So this is my first Selectmen's meeting. So you'll have to give me some guidance on how you present. So I sent you my annual department report last week. Do you have any questions on this?
Anyone on the board have a question?
Yes.
Hey, Leslie, why don't you just go through the highlights on it?
Okay. So this past year, we have two new members that had started with us, Marsha Wildgroup as well as Jennifer Babcock. They brought in a lot of new ideas. We've done a new programs with them. Jennifer took over a lot of the programs, and what she's done is she sets them up and follows through with them. We did our first annual shoot with our Council on Aging board members. They came up with this idea. We went forward with it. We opened up to the community. We've had some new seniors that came in that have never been in the senior center. A couple of new programs that we had done and started with that were big hits with the seniors. One of the bigger hits was the cornhole that we had this past, which we won't be doing going forward, but which we had all winter. We had chair volleyball. We started a pool league. We did a new thing this year. We opened up Christmas Eve. A lot of our seniors had nowhere to go Christmas Eve. So we opened up and we did a breakfast that was well attended. We had a lot of staff that came over to sit and speak to the seniors. So that went over well with the police department. The police department also came and stayed with us most of the morning. As we got involved with the pandemic, we started doing a food drive. Our food drive started before we closed. We had some help from Lynn Gerard and Sue Murphy in the community. They came out. We started doing non-perishable items. What we ended up doing in the end was, after we closed down, we started delivering these items, as well as we did prescription runs for seniors. We still continue to do that. We're doing well checks daily. Our staff is doing well checks daily. We've started doing, just recently today, we started doing pick-up lunches through Tri-Valley. They pick up lunches right at the senior center curbside. We bring those out to them. We're still doing Meals on Wheels every day. We've been doing some grocery shopping for some folks in town that are unable to get any Instacart or Peapod brought into them. Going ahead, we're working on some programs with the Board of Health. Just recently today with the changes and the new updates, we are going to be doing a drive-in. It's more like a tailgate for seniors. We're going to have music at the high school. A live music is going to be there, and we're going to have a luncheon brought to their cars with volunteers. So we're going to do that in July. We're hoping to do that in July. We're also looking to hopefully use the town common with your approval for exercise starting in June. We'd like to go forward with that. Like I said, we are working with Ken from the Board of Health with his guidance. We're looking to see what we can start with doing outdoor activities for the seniors. So that's where we're at now.
Okay, Priscilla?
Leslie,
Yes.
I see on your report that in April you had 29 bags of non-perishable, or you were hoping to do 40 more bags of non-perishable goods and stuff to families at Burgess. I was just wondering, that money that, Jeff, that you spoke about, the COVID money, can any of that go to buying more food for Burgess families that are in need? Does that count?
So we've gotten a lot of donations. Oops, I'm sorry, Jeff.
No, go ahead, Leslie. You start. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we've gotten a lot of donations from individuals in town as well as businesses that a lot of them indicated that they would like those funds to be for the food for the families as well as the seniors. So we have enough money right now to fund that for a good while. So we were going to use most of that money.
Can you fund the families at Burgess as well as the seniors?
Yes.
Matt?
Because I know that in some communities, what made me think of Burgess, in some communities, like I know in Wilbraham, they give lunch boxes, it's either every day or 3 times a week for families, whether they, high need or not high need, to help take the stress off families. Because their grocery bills obviously are a lot higher since everybody is home all day. And I didn't know if that was something that you needed help with or not. I don't know. But it's just a thought out there.
Yeah, I agree with you. So Burgess is doing lunches 5 days a week. They do pickups Mondays and Thursdays. We've been working with Lisa Minyard over at the school for the last couple of months. What we've been offering them is above and beyond what the school has been giving them. So usually when they do a pickup on a Monday or a Thursday, those families will come over to the senior center and ask for bags. So we'll provide them with non-perishable items such as, your basics for them. What we're looking to do again this month, at the end of the month, is do more of a like personal items like laundry detergent, soap, things like that are just too much for them to get right now. But we do have enough funding that we can provide for them for some time. I will say that.
Do the seniors all have masks or access to masks?
Yes. We've made sure of that. So we did a mask run. We started masks back in with Federated Church as well as the Charlton Sewing Company. We started doing masks. We did it on a Saturday. I want to say time has gone by so quickly. Back at maybe the beginning of April, end of March, we did it on a Saturday, and we provided 75 mask kits, which have 10 masks to make in the kits, and those went within 45 minutes. So they were picked up. We had a line around the building. They were picked up at the senior center. We've gotten them back, and in turn, what we're doing is providing those for businesses in town that may need masks for their workers. And also, we've kept a bunch of them for ourselves and for the library to give out their patrons once they open. And our seniors, we provided to Autumn Ridge as well as Crescent Gate and Heritage Green. And these seniors picking up from us quite often. So we do have, and if you guys ever come across anyone that does need masks, we do have those at the center.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Jeff?
Just to answer Selectwoman Jemus's question, I will check to see if the CARES Act money that's available to us can be used for that in case they need it.
Thank you.
Mary? I just wanted to give a shout out to Leslie and Marcia and the other volunteers. I had a couple of seniors approach me and say how grateful they were that grocery shopping was done for them. And also early on when there were shortages, they're not as much anymore, but when there were shortages of toilet paper, the senior center had plenty and were able to distribute it. And they really were very appreciative of that. And I just also wanted to highlight my support in your report for doing more outdoor activities with the seniors because, the public health experts are saying there's a lower probability of transmitting COVID outdoors. So the exercises on the common, I think is a great thing for all of us, really. But so I just wanted to show my support of that.
Thank you.
Leslie?
Yes.
Excuse me, the request for the use of the common, we have a meeting on June 1st, so if you could get that to us then with exactly what you plan to do and control of the crowds and everything, okay?
And so I must tell you, I have one little dilemma. We get a newsletter, and we have to send it to the publishers by Tuesday afternoon. So we wanted to put it in the newsletter so we could possibly start exercise classes on June 8th. So I know, so the Commons, is it closed to the public now? Is that what's going on with the Commons?
Yes.
Okay.
It hasn't been opened up yet, Jeff, has it? Jeff?
One of the things we can do, as we prepare for the farmer's market, we're going to use snow fence to encapsulate an area. That way we can control ins and outs of the farmer's market, and the seniors can use that same area for their exercise, and we can figure out how to space people in that area to have the appropriate social distancing. So we'd kind of like the approval of the board to let staff figure this out as long as we can meet the guidelines for social distancing.
Okay, we can take a motion to that effect with that caveat at the end. Is anyone willing to make a motion?
I'll make that motion in accordance to what the town administrator just said.
Okay.
Second.
Is
Mike
there a
Priscilla.
second?
Yeah, Mike Supranat seconds that motion.
Okay, Chase, how do you vote?
Yes, Chase.
Mary?
I vote yes, but I just want to make sure we're voting to open up the town common and give the discretion to our town administrator and staff to take the measures they need. Both, right?
Yes.
Both.
Yes.
Okay.
And as long as the Board of Health signs off on it too.
Yep. So I agree with that too. In my motion, I can add that. I vote yes.
Okay. Mike, how do you vote?
I vote yes as well.
Okay, and I vote yes, so that's 5-0.
Thank you.
Do you need a motion?
Madam-
Leslie, is it too premature to have a motion for the seniors to be able to utilize the common for exercise on starting June 8th? Or did we already vote for that?
That's what we just voted for.
That's
I
what we just
thought we still voted to open up and to give discretion to so that would include activities.
No, the only thing we wanted was the seniors to be able to use it.
exercise.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay.
Yeah, this wasn't for everybody, just for this group.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. You
Madam
all
Chair?
set, Leslie? You wanted to
Thank you,
take
John.
one-
I just wanted to compliment not just the staff, but the seniors themselves. It seems like they've been providing emotional support by the staff using and seniors using this old-fashioned device called the telephone, and it seems like they've been talking to each other and trying to keep each other in good spirits. I know Leslie has called several people, and I'm sure, and I think they've all been communicating, or many of them have, and those that haven't should communicate, because that building their spirit makes them stronger. And I should say them, us. But I think our Council on Age and our senior center staff has been doing an excellent job, keeping the community together and giving them emotional support in addition to the food and the PPE and everything. I think that's very important thing to point out that they've been doing.
Thank you, Mike. We have a great team.
Yep.
Okay, next on the agenda, we have a recommendation for acceptance of donations to the senior center. $25 donation from Elaine Palumbo, $40 gift card from Ruth McDonough, Linda Pelletier, $125 Shaw's gift card, $100 Stop and Shop gift card, and an anonymous $100 Stop and Shop gift card. Is there a motion then to accept and send a letter of thanks?
So moved. Priscilla?
Chase?
That was a second, Chase.
Yep, second. Chase.
Okay, Mary, how do you vote? Mary?
Turn on your microphone, Mary.
Mary, yes.
Mike?
This is Mike, yes.
Priscilla?
Yes.
Chase?
Yes.
Okay, and I vote yes. Okay, that's 5-0. Okay, next we have a recommendation for an appointment as the Emergency Management Coordinator of David Ming. Jeff, you want to explain that one?
Thank you, Madam Chair. With the departure of Kevin Filchek as Emergency Management Coordinator, we temporarily, with the board's approval or concurrence, took on David Demings as the interim. And David has applied for the position. It's 12 hours a week. He is currently the head of our CERT team. And based upon Chief Desert's or interim Chief Desert recommendation, I concur and appointed him to the position of Emergency Management Coordinator, and we would like your concurrence.
Okay, does the board have any questions?
And David's on the call tonight.
I just had a question. The position, the CERT position, is that a paid? That's a paid position, right?
No, it's a volunteer.
Okay. So there's not two positions that he's being paid. It's just this one position.
Yes,
Correct?
that is correct.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments? Someone willing to make a motion?
So moved.
That was
Second is
Philip.
Mike.
Priscilla, sorry.
Chase, how do you vote?
Yes, Chase.
Mary, how do you vote?
Mary, yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Philip?
Yes.
And I vote yes. 5-0.
Thank you.
David is listening. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have a recommendation for an appointment of Todd Miller as Economic Development and Tourism Coordinator. Any comments or questions from the board?
Mary,
So,
I just have a question for Jeff. Did you get a good response of applicants for the position? Just curious.
Yeah, we got about a dozen. We interviewed 2. And Todd's in front of you as our appointee. And when I say we, Gene Bouban and Brian Amity of the Sturbridge Tourist Association and I interviewed the candidates and reviewed the applications.
Thank you.
Jeff, will Todd be continuing to work for Quabog as well as Sturbridge, or this is a part-time position, I guess?
This is a full-time position. It's 37 and a half hours with us. So
Okay.
if he wants to do some on-the-side work, I can, he can talk about that with me as long as it doesn't interfere with his position with us, but I've not heard that.
Would you like me to chime in on that?
Todd, would you like to chime in, please?
Yes, I would. Just to let you know, I would be transitioning out of the Quabbin Regional School District area in order to solely serve Sturbridge. I don't plan on moving or anything like that.
Yeah, that's my question.
Anything else from the board? Someone willing to make a motion then?
I'll make a motion to concur with the appointment of Todd Miller as Economic Development and Tourism Coordinator.
That was Chase.
Chase.
There a second?
Yes.
I'll second.
I'll second that.
Oh,
I think I beat you, Mary.
go ahead.
Okay, and that was Mike.
Yeah.
Okay, Priscilla, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Mary?
Yes.
Chase?
Yes, Chase.
And I vote yes. So it's 5-0. Congratulations. Looking forward to working with you.
Likewise,
When-
thank you so much.
Are you starting, Todd?
I plan on starting the 1st of June. That gives me enough time to transition and get all my ducks in a row from Quabbin, get everything settled in, so that way the next person will be able to take it over, without too much fuss.
I liked in your cover letter where you said you want to lend your skills to a brighter future. I thought that was particularly apropos, so good luck to you, and we look forward to working with you.
Thank you very much. I'm very much a planner by personality, and I'm all.
Thank you. Have a good evening. And welcome
Thank you so
again.
much.
Okay, next on the agenda
Thank you, Todd.
is a
Thank you. Have a good evening.
to waive the taxes on 501 Main Street due to ownership by the town. Jeff, you want to explain that?
Yes.
Explanatory in the letter.
Since the town purchased the property after January 1st, the Board of Assessors is asking that the Board of Selectmen waive the taxes since the town is a non-tax entity. And the taxes are based upon the value as raw land. So in order to abate these taxes or get them off the books as due or payable, the board would have to take a vote to waive those, please. And this is standard when the town buys property. These things are, the current owner or the prior owner did pay through the date of transfer, but anything after that is the town's responsibility.
Okay, any questions, comments from the board?
Yeah, I understand why we're waiving the 2020 taxes, but I don't understand why we have to do 2021. Wouldn't it automatically become tax exempt? Or is it because the taxes are due based on the ownership as of January 1st?
That's correct. It's based on January 1st. Yep.
I'll make a motion. I'll make a
Okay,
motion.
Mary.
Send a letter to the Sturbridge assessors requesting abatement taxes at 501 Main Street for the remainder of fiscal year 2020 and fiscal year 2021.
I'll
Is there a
second
second?
that. This is my second.
Okay. Chase, how do you vote?
Yes, Chase.
Priscilla?
Yes.
Mary?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes?
And I vote yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, next we have a request to accept a donation of personal protective equipment from GF. It's 130 pairs of goggles to the public safety complex. Any questions, comments? Someone want to make a motion?
So
I'll
moved.
make it.
Priscilla?
Okay, is there a second?
Second, Chase.
Okay, Mary, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Priscilla?
Yes.
Kate?
Chase, yes.
And I vote yes. Okay, 5-0. Okay, next we have the request to accept the petition for change in the zoning map for portion of 7 Cedar Street as shown on the petition and supporting documentation provided and to pass on to the planning board to begin the public hearing process as required by Mass General Law, Chapter 404, Section 5. Are any comments or questions?
This zone change, this zone change would allow for additional parking around in the vicinity of White's barn farm and that area around Cedar Street, which is not very much parking there right now, and not enough. So, I
Right,
would
it's,
but
yeah, this is similar to the petition that came forward last year, although this
Yeah.
is smaller. So,
yeah.
okay, any other comments from the board? Okay, does somebody want to make a motion then to accept the petition and forward it to the planning board to begin the public hearing process?
So moved. Priscilla?
Second,
Second?
Michael.
Okay. Yeah. Mary, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Ace,
Yes.
Philip?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Okay, now we will also have to reopen the town warrant to place it on the town warrant. Is there a motion to reopen the annual town meeting warrant?
So moved. Priscilla?
Second, Michael.
Okay, Mary, how do you vote?
Yes.
Chase?
Yes.
Priscilla?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Okay. Is someone willing to make a motion then to place it on the annual town meeting?
So moved. Priscilla?
Second, Michael.
Okay, Mary, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Chase?
I vote yes.
Priscilla?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
I have a question.
And I vote.
I have a
Oh,
question.
Mary.
Since we are placing it, will we have another opportunity to make a motion to support it? Or would it be appropriate to do that now?
It would be appropriate to do it now. We haven't closed it.
Okay,
All
so
right.
can I change my motion to place and support?
Sure.
Priscilla?
I will second that.
Okay, so Mary, how do you vote on that?
I vote yes.
Chase?
I vote yes.
Priscilla?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Okay, is there a motion now to close the warrant?
So moved, Priscilla?
1 minute. Okay.
Mary?
I'll wait for discussion on.
Okay, I'll second it for this discussion.
Okay, Mary?
Well, I am going to want to revisit one of the warrant articles that we placed, but we didn't put support for yet. No, if now would be the time. I was going to bring it up under old business. So, can we reopen it up again under old business? Or should I do it now?
6 of one, half dozen of another.
Yeah.
As long as we're willing to reopen it, I'll bring it up after.
Okay. Jeff?
As I mentioned earlier, we'll probably come back with some revised budget numbers, and that may require the warrant to be opened again to change those numbers. Just keep that in mind, please.
Okay, so we had a motion, we had a second to close the warrant. Mary, how do you vote?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
Priscilla?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Okay. Okay, old business. Provide updates. Jeff?
Okay, there's a lot of information I'm going to have for you this evening, so bear with me. If you have a question on something I just said, please, I'll try to jump in there and get those questions answered, but there's a lot going on. First, let me say that we've not instructed the non-essential staff to return to work yet. We got guidance today under the governor's guidance. Offices should not reopen until May 25th, and only after you've taken certain steps to ensure that you have a safe workplace. We've gotten that guidance today. A lot of those steps are in action, but we've not completed those, so up until now, we've not required staff to return, and won't do so until we know we can complete those steps. To that effect, we have taken the following steps. We have glass partitions in order for those offices that deal directly with the public. For instance, the assessor's office, the building department, Board of Health, planning, town clerk, all will get glass partitions on their service windows. We're deploying PPE to every office, which includes gloves, masks, disinfectant, and hand wipes and those kind of things for everybody to have. We have a number of staff people that will not return immediately because of childcare issues or health issues, and we'll make arrangements with those employees to continue to work remotely. I think that's encouraged by the governor's guidance. Continue to work remotely when possible, and we'll have a handful of employees that choose to do so for personal reasons, and we'll come to an agreement with each one of those. Federal law provides that those without childcare can take up to 10 weeks of unpaid leave. We'll kind of mix and match that with working from home and continue operations that way once we begin to come back together. Some of the tasks, some of the procedures we're going to put in place, we do have personnel, town lifeguards, and CERT team members we would like to employ as kind of doorkeepers on both COB and Town Hall at first, and later on when the library opens in the senior center. They will make sure people have masks when they come in the door, control the number of people in the building, and for both COB and Town Hall, we will not allow the second floor of each building to be open to the public. If there's someone that needs to speak to someone on the second floor, say recreation, they should do that by telephone or schedule an appointment. That way, those people can be, safely escorted through the building and not come in contact with the other employees. We've been doing that with contractors that are fixing things in the buildings, so that's kind of a continuation of that process. So all those things are going on, and I sent you kind of a draft standard operating procedure and some phasing plans for the different buildings that you should review and comment on. I'd look for your comments. These have been distributed to the staff, and I've taken comments back from all the staff so far. But that's kind of where we are. We'll probably not want to open to the public. I'm getting feedback somehow. I don't know where that's coming from. Until June 1st. I want to get the staff back in the buildings and arrange everybody socially distant and make sure we have the markings on the floor where they're 6 feet apart, and the offices and the partitions are set up so everybody understands how to interact amongst ourselves before we open to the public. And then once we do open to the public, it'll be on a modified schedule. That way we can disinfect the buildings afterwards, after each day, and make sure that the buildings are safe for the public. But for the time being, we're going to operate as is. We have an excellent system set up for payments. We have applications being processed, and of course, some of you have accessed our permit bucket to get your packets, and that has been working very well. Remote meetings have gone very well. So up until June 1st, at your meeting, we'll probably come back and ask you to accept a plan and endorse a plan, and then reopen to the public in a modified state in accordance with Phase 2 under the governor's recommendations. I'll be happy to answer any questions. I would ask at the end of this conversation about COVID that you do allow us to employ lifeguards at their current rate, and other CERT team members at least minimum wage to be used as kind of gatekeepers for the buildings for now. This does not include the library or senior center for now. They're going to stay closed for some time until they're prepared to reopen to the public. So, be happy to answer any questions. We got a ton of stuff today that we're going through, but I think we're on the right path to take the next step.
Okay, questions, comments from the board?
Wow.
Hey, Jeff, would you like that motion now?
Yes, if you're comfortable making that motion, that way we can get some people in-house, get them trained on what we want to do. We're evaluating whether to take temperatures of people as they come and go in the building. One of the requirements is that we log people that come in the building for contact tracing. So all those things have to be put in place.
Priscilla?
I read something this morning, and I heard on the news that now they're saying that temperature taking is a moot point. That there are other symptoms that are more prevalent than that. I don't know. I mean, I totally agree with what you want to do, totally. But I'm not sure how do we protect it? And here's another thought at the same time. Can we test them? I mean, if these are local people coming in, if like CVS has that quick test now, it would help the community in one way, because if we have people who have it and get identified, that's the more that can get helped and healthier. It's just a thought.
I would love to have
that money.
Right. I would love to have a testing location in town that is that 1 hour test. We can look at that and see if that's available to us. But great point. Thank you.
Because we have a CVS in town. Excuse me, Jeff. Because we have a CVS in town, and I didn't know if that's one way we could do it.
I'll find out through the Board of Health if that's available.
Thank you.
Could we use that $49,000 towards it?
Yep.
I understand. We'll take a look and see if that's doable.
I didn't hear about the temperature checks as not being as recommended. I thought that was still being performed. Not everybody has a temperature, but I still thought that's one of the symptoms. So if it would be easy to do, I would support temperature checks.
It's easy to do, but I think it's also been proven that it's not, you hear every day there's a different physician telling you something, but
right. You can have it without having a fever.
Right, and that's why they found others. That's why I thought maybe testing just be better.
Well, that's the best, of course.
Yeah.
Well, these temperature tests would be for people that want to actually visit town hall to get a marriage intention, get a dog license, pay their taxes. So it's kind of a retail type transaction, but having a place in town for people to be tested would be very nice to have for our residents. So we'll work on that. And in terms of the temperature testing, we'll go through the guidance we got today. If that's a recommended practice, we'll do it. If it's not a recommended practice, we'll reevaluate whether that's appropriate.
Thanks.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, then, is somebody willing to make a motion then about the lifeguards and the CERT personnel?
So moved, Priscilla.
Second, Chase.
Mary, how do you vote?
Yes, Mary.
Priscilla, how do you vote?
Yes.
Chase?
Chase, yes.
Mike?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Okay, Jeff, anything else on that, or?
No, in B and C, on B, we didn't know if the governor was going to lift the emergency declaration or what impact that would have, but so far, the emergency order putting those kind of lessening the open meetings law that allows the remote meetings is still in place, so we don't need any local action on that this evening. So we're good on B and C at this point, unless there's further questions or comments. I'd be happy to answer.
Anything from the board on those?
I just have a question. Was it to employ the lifeguards as gatekeepers, your motion, or to take temperatures?
Gatekeepers.
The lifeguards and CERT team members, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, then new business. Mike?
None.
Okay.
Well, I just,
Oh, Mary, you have questions?
I still had some old business under the warrant.
Oh,
That's right.
okay, sorry about that.
No worries.
So go ahead.
Okay, so the last time we talked about the warrants, we placed and asked for additional information on the tax receipt warrant article. It was suggested to be in an amount of $350,000. I had requested that Barbara and Jeff give us all a copy of the fiscal policy, and then I also asked Barbara to go through some figures in the event that we increased it to $450,000 and $500,000. So I know everybody got the material last week, but so under the fiscal policy, it suggests as a guideline that we have a free cash and stabilization fund at 10 to 12% of the general fund. That's considered prudent to plan for emergencies and whatnot. I'm going to make a motion that we increase from 350 to 450. That will still give us, according to Barbara's figures, 9.13. So we're already beyond the range of free cash. They recommend free cash at 3 to 7%. That will still have us at more than 9%. And that will give us overall cash reserves of 15.81%. And under the same document, we want it between 10 to 12. So we're at just shy of 16%. It also satisfies the Government Finance Officers Association recommendation that local governments maintain reserves of 5 to 15%. So we are at the upper end of where we need to be, and I think that it would be good if we gave this indication to Jeff and Barbara when they go back into the budget. It just makes sense when we're satisfying our policies, and we have plenty in there, that this would be the year that we could increase it. I know for several years it stayed at $250,000, regardless of what our free cash was. A couple of years ago, we went to $350, And it didn't harm us in any way. We have a great bond rating. We have a lot of free cash and cash reserves. And I just think that this year is the appropriate year to move it to 450. And so I would make a motion. I don't have the warrant article in front of me, but I would make a motion to increase the tax relief warrant article from $350,000 to $450,000.
There a second?
I have a question first.
Okay.
Mary, would you increase it to 500,000?
I didn't think that would necessarily get support, so I went up 100,000. I mean, we would still be well within the range, but
We would be. That's why I'm asking.
yeah, I just think that you have more of an opportunity to get the other select people in the finance committee on board at 450, and that puts us at 15.81%. Now, even though our revenue will go down, as Jeff indicated, because the budget was pre-COVID, so our revenue stream is not going to be as much. Even if that drops to 14%, we're still honoring our fiscal policy, and then some. I mean, we're beyond it. So
Yeah.
I would leave it at 450 for that reason. I think it's more apt to be acceptable to others.
Jeff?
I certainly understand where you want to be, and I don't disagree that holding on to taxpayers' cash doesn't really put it to use, and you've collected it for, you're sitting on it, and you ought to put it to use. We can put revised budget numbers together utilizing the 450. I think that's appropriate. Again, I want to make sure we're not using so much that we can't replicate that in future years where we have to raise taxes to balance the budget. So I think the 450 number is good. For now, let us tweak the rest of the budget, and if there's a capability to further use other resources, then I think that's a good discussion to have. But until we kind of get an idea of overall where those revenue numbers are and the impacts on state aid and other things, there may be other tools we need to take in order not to increase the tax rate and achieve your goals as a board of, utilizing your free cash effectively. So the 450 is good. Let us use that number and see where we are and come back with some more recommendations for you.
Priscilla?
I know something's better than nothing, but I know it's a 1 year and possibly a second year next year because through no one's fault, this virus has hit everyone. I'm afraid that a lot of our businesses are small businesses. I'm not sure they're going to come back because some of them have been impacted in a very serious way. Some will be able to come back, but others are going to struggle. I hear from residents all the time about their fear of the tax rate this year, of help for this year, because so many people have lost work. Some of them can work remotely, but a whole lot of them can't. Jeff, if you're going to look at these numbers, is it possible to give two ways for 450 and for 500,000?
Sure. One of the challenges you have in Massachusetts, the way you do your budget, is you really don't know the tax rate till you set it later. So we're going through a process now at the staff level of trying to anticipate, based upon different funding sources and revenues, where that tax rate is and how many of these tools that we have in our toolbox can be used to make sure that tax rate goes down. So until we have a good understanding of where that tax rate's going to be at certain revenue levels, just throwing money at it may not be as effective as understanding where we're going to be and then having the capability to determine where you want it to be, right? So I know you don't want to raise it. I know you want it to go down.
Right.
I think we have the tools we need to make it go down, but I think we need to do that eyes wide open and looking at the real numbers based upon the assessed value of the community, based upon the other revenue streams, based upon the tools in the toolbox, based upon where we want to be as a community and moving different programs and things forward, and then determining, all right, our tax rate's X dollars this year, we want it to be here next year, and this is what we have to do to get there. I want to be right there with you, and I agree that people are calling about their taxes. I don't want them to go up, and there's no reason for them to go up. We've got the tools to make that happen.
Right. Okay, and so I can support that, knowing that you are totally on that page.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay,
Okay,
so still
No, go ahead, Mary.
okay, so I still make the motion, with the understanding he'll look at 5, but my motion is for 450 at this point.
Second, Priscilla.
Okay, Mike, how do you vote?
I think it's too early to make that determination. I'm going to vote no. If the numbers come back higher than I expect, then I would like to revote this at a later date. But for now, it's no. I don't know what the budget's going to look like, the final revenues and expenditures.
Okay,
Without that information, I can't make an informed vote.
Yeah, you can't anyway.
okay, sorry, I didn't hear you, Chase.
I vote yes, Chase.
Priscilla?
Yes.
Mary?
Yes.
I agree with Mike. I am going to vote yes because we can always relook at it. But Jeff, when we're looking at this, can we also get information on the effect on the taxes, depending on what we put in? If we put in the, 450, or if we put in the 500. I mean, 500 sounds like a lot, but it's not a heck of a lot of difference, in the dollar amount on the taxes. Even 450 is not, it sounds great, but could we get the numbers on what it would affect on the tax payment? I forget, there used to be a formula, for every 100,000, so we need that too, because I think we're going to have to relook at it depending on the revenues. I mean, there's a lot of revenue streams that are drying up, and I don't see them picking up for quite a while, okay?
Yeah, I anticipate giving you some kind of menu, because I don't know that free cash is our only tool in the toolbox. I think there's some other tools we can use to offset some of the revenue losses, and also stay within our policies. So this is, we can give you different options to look at and its effect on the tax rate. Sure.
Mary? Something. So back when I was on the finance committee, and it's a number of years ago, and Jim Malloy was at the helm, that was also a very difficult time, the 2008, 2009 recession. Our range of free cash and stabilization was still within the policy, but we were at the way low end because the times were such that that's where we needed to be. I understand people's reluctance wanting to have a lot of cash reserves, but over the years, we have accumulated a lot of free cash to the point where we're above and beyond what our own fiscal policy is requiring and what the state recommends. And at some point, we have to ask ourselves, can we really, in good faith, hold on to that much free cash? I mean, right now, my proposition is still going to have us at 16%, and at some point, we have that much free cash. The idea is to have it for emergencies, but, the government doesn't operate that much differently than a household. And once you have a certain amount of free cash every year in the millions, you start spending it. It doesn't just sit there. It doesn't just accumulate. You spend it. And I think this is the year with unemployment reaching depression levels. This is the year that we should increase. And I don't think 100,000 is a lot. I don't remember if it was $50 or 100. We had the same discussion when we went from 250 to 350. And I think what happened is Warren's article became frozen. I mean, it was frozen at 250,000 for years, and we were exceeding our fiscal policy. And at some point, we have to try to get back in that range so that we have a balance between our town having enough money for emergencies and giving back to the residents when we're sitting on too much cash reserves. And right now, we're sitting on too much, and I think we need to give more back. That's my speech.
Yep, I agree,
I agree.
totally.
Yep.
Okay. Hey, new business then. Mike.
Madam Chair, I still have some old business. Do you mind if I go?
Oh, no.
Okay, thank you. I would like to bring up the town administrator's review, as I was not present at the work emergency, and I want to apologize for that. I just wanted to give my thoughts on the review because I fielded a lot of calls over residents, employees of the town, asking me what my opinion was, and I want to put it on the camera for everybody here. I gave Jeff a 5-star review, and I wanted to go over a few bullet points as to why I did that. I think he's doing an excellent job. This was Jeff's first year in our form of government. There's an adjustment when relocating to any town, and I feel Jeff acclimated himself extremely well. Jeff stepped right up and moved to Sturbridge, becoming a resident. Jeff attended Board of Selectmen and FinCom meeting before he even started his job. He frequently attends planning board and conservation meetings and takes notes. I have personally seen him at town events, including tree lighting, community bonfire, farmers market, demonstrating his support for the town of Sturbridge. I'm up early for work and notice Jeff is the first employee at the town hall. There are many mornings where I see his car there around 7:40, 7:30 a.m. Jeff is constantly updating us on ongoing situations throughout weekend hours. He is very transparent about the little time he has taken off, and he is also transparent about his schedule throughout the day. I interviewed numerous town employees, and the majority of these employees spoke very highly of Jeff. Jeff has a great open-door policy. I've been able to walk right into his office and talk to him. Jeff has done a great job interviewing and hiring new town employees. Examples of this are Leslie Wong at the Senior Center and Robin at Facilities, to name a few. Jeff has been very supportive and forward-thinking to the businesses in this community. And I wanted the residents, employees, and my peers to know that I'm 100% behind Jeff as our town administrator. And please keep up the excellent job.
Thank you very much for your comments.
Thank you, Chase.
Thank you.
Okay. Priscilla?
I wish we all had that opportunity to say what we thought last week, but thank you for sharing, Chase.
I'm not going to, I don't have any, can I just, one thing about that? I think what Chase said is exactly what we all should say. Last week,
We weren't
Chase,
allowed.
I did request that we look at the evaluation process because it's just better if everybody could just give their own comments rather than having joint comments, because that works the best. You spoke with passion, and that you should have your comments. And I just think it would be a lot better if everybody could just say what they wanted to say. Again, that's what I had suggested last week, but it's something that we can talk about. But essentially, Chase did what I like every select person to have the opportunity to do, is just share their own comments, with the understanding that we're all trying to work towards the same goal of having a positive experience for everybody.
And I did not watch the meeting last time, so I apologize if I just spoke out of line, and if I didn't see it.
Chase, that was fine. I had explained last week how it's done and how it's been done. And apparently some people on the board are not satisfied with that. So we did say we would re-look at it. Maybe the form needs to be changed. Individual evaluations are not public record. The summation is the only public record. What you say at a meeting is public record too. But we'll discuss it when things get back to normal.
And this was my first review too, so I apologize.
Chase, nothing to apologize for. Nothing. Okay, new business. Mike.
None.
Chase.
No.
Priscilla.
No.
Ian.
No.
And I have no new correspondence. Mike?
Yes. On May 1st and 2nd, we received communications from Charter Communications regarding upcoming changes. They're changing the lineup again. And no indication of any cost increases, but they are changing the lineup so that there's two new levels starting on or about June 2nd. On May 4th, we received the yearly operational plan for National Grid, and on May 11th, we received the National Grid's vegetation management plan or activities that they'll be doing during this calendar year. And finally, we received a letter from Massachusetts Department of Transportation on May 14th regarding the Shampoo Road Bridge over Long Pond. That bridge has been approved as a project. That doesn't mean it's totally funded, but it's in the pipeline now. So, and the amount approved in the letter is $1,730,000. And at this point, should we take up the letter has to be signed, usually by the chief elected official of the town, and sent back to Mass DOT. Do you want to take that up now or later, Madam Chair?
We could take it up now.
Okay.
When we get it back.
Yeah, I would like to make a motion to ask the chairman of the Board of Selectmen to sign the letter and return it to the District 2 highway engineer or director, excuse me, District 3 director. Again, my highway district's confused. The District 3 highway director. So that the town can proceed. I guess we have 2 years to get the right-of-way squared away under the letter. So I would make a motion that as soon as possible we send the letter back to the district, signed by our chair.
Is there a second?
Second.
That was Chase. Okay, Mary, how do you vote?
Yes.
Chase?
Yes.
Philip?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
And I vote yes. This letter also went to DPW director, and he definitely knows the procedure about how to approach it. This project has been approved before, and the money was never released. And it's not an easy process and takes quite a while, and it may, no doubt, entail the town having to put money into it. But it's a start. Okay. New business, Chase, did I ask you?
Yeah, no new.
Okay, Priscilla?
No.
Mary?
No.
Mike?
No.
And I don't have any new. So we now have approval of minutes. We have the April 29th warrant review.
Are you going to do correspondence after, Mary?
We did it.
Oh, I'm sorry, we did. I have one more that I just wanted to share.
Okay.
And I think maybe other select people got a similar email, but I got an email through the town from a citizen that would like Jeff to do exactly what he and staff are going to do, which is to go back and come up with a post-COVID budget. This gentleman thought that the budget was prepared before the pandemic and before the economic fallout from it. And he thought that, I guess I'm going to change the language, but that we should sharpen our pencil a little bit and be more aware of the current state of our economy with respect to our budget. And I answered him that we had approved the budget, but that, we had warrant articles like increasing tax relief. But I'm sure this resident's going to be very pleased that the staff is going to go back and look at the budget again in light of what's occurred. So I just wanted to mention that I did get a letter, an email from a resident.
So I think we got the same email then, because I also responded that, things are definitely, getting reviewed again, and that's definitely not going to be the budget that we started out with. Hey, Jeff, did you have your hand up?
I just want to say I got the same letter and responded to that gentleman that we are going through the budget again. Yep.
Okay,
Right.
great. Thank you.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Okay, so, the town warrant review, anybody have a comment, corrections on those minutes? Okay, is there a motion then to approve them as written?
So moved.
Chase?
Chase.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, Mike, that was Mary Dowling. Mike, how do you vote?
Abstain. I was absent.
Oh, that's right, you were absent. Okay, Chase?
Yes.
Okay, Priscilla?
Yes.
Mary?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Okay, now we have the minutes of May 4th, 2020. Anyone have any?
I just have one change. Andrea, on the very last page, under Town Administrator's Review, second paragraph, it says, Vice Chair Dowling suggested that they submit individual reviews to the chair for the purpose of gathering an overall score. Can you insert this, but that the board eliminate joint comments, period, and scratch the rest of that sentence, which reads, and in section, the selectmen, scratch that, I have a different sentence. So you're inserting, but that the board eliminates joint comments. And then a new sentence that says, rather, each selectman can provide their own written comments in the public record if they desire. So you're adding the sentence, rather, each selectman can provide their own written comments in the public record if they desire. And if you want, I can send you an email with those two changes, or you probably got it.
If you don't mind.
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
Awesome.
It's not that what you said is wrong. I just thought this was clearer. But the phrase that we eliminate the joint comment. Okay. That's it.
Okay, anyone else?
Yeah, on the second page, just to clarify, under water and sewer, the second paragraph at the very end, it says that Selectman Supranat asked if we had any problems maintaining residual. If you could insert before residual or after chlorine, because it's not very clear to most people. I think Mr. Moody understood what I was saying, but somebody reading this, it didn't know.
Residual.
Chlorine, Andrea.
Is there
Chlorine.
what?
Chlorine.
Oh.
C-H-O-R-I-N-E.
I see. I heard something else.
I do too.
Okay, anyone else? I just have a few grammatical ones. Andrea, on the first page, last paragraph, International Firefighters Day, they should all be capitalized.
Okay.
On the next page, that first paragraph, the second line at the end, the sentence begins, Chair Blanchard asked for the VCR. You need to insert certificate. Okay, and then the last one, page 74, the paragraph.
The action?
Underwater and sewer.
Okay.
The paragraph that begins, Mr. Moody. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sixth line down. Where there begins, would be getting tested again for lead. It's the other lead, LEAD.
Oh,
Okay.
good catch.
Third grade catch. Okay, that's all. Anyone have anything else? A motion to approve the minutes as amended.
So moved.
That was Mike. Is there a
Mike.
second?
Second, Priscilla?
Mary, how do you vote?
Yes.
Jake?
Abstain.
You were absent. Priscilla?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Okay. Last thing, Citizens Forum.
No citizens.
Nobody's there. Is anybody on the phone?
Let me check, please. Good evening. Is there anyone on the phone for public forum? Is there anyone on the phone for public forum? There's no one on the phone, ma'am.
Okay. Is there a motion to adjourn now?
So moved. Priscilla?
Second, Chase.
Mary, how do you vote?
Yes.
Priscilla?
Yes.
Jake?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
And I vote yes.
All right.
Okay. Have a good 2 weeks.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you, Chase.
Everybody.
Good night.
Okay.
Good night.